and circumference of circle. So there is no such thing as a perimeter of a circle, unfortunately. It's the circumference. So if you look at just a good old circle, the area is just like every other time. So the area is the inside. And the circumference is the outside of the circle. So the circumference is this outside. Okay? Here's another thing that you got to know about circles. Circles have diameters and radii. Okay, so the diameter is the full length across the circle. And then the radius is half the distance. So, in terms of when we find the radius, if they give us the diameter, we're just going to cut it in half, okay? So the radius is equal to d over 2. We're going to cut it in half, if we have to, but sometimes they just straight up give us the radius. If you look at the circle, see if I can move that area. If you look at the circle, this would be a diameter, so that would be the diameter, full length across. Radius would be like half. Okay, so this is the radius, and this is the diameter. Alright, so let's get into it. Let's say this time they give us this. So, going back, actually, go back to the last page. Sorry. If you look on your formula sheet, which you should definitely have printed out by now, area equals pi r squared. And the circumference equals, there's actually two formulas on there. There's 2 pi r, and there's pi d. And both of them have pi. If they give you the radius, honestly, I'm just going to say use 2 pi r for circumference every time. So I would rather you just use these two. That way you don't have to be like, should I be using pi d or 2 pi r? No, just use 2 pi r and then pi r squared. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to find the area and circumference of each circle. So let's say they gave us 4 meters there. The good thing is they're only going to give us one piece of information per circle. So we don't have to kind of, figure out what's happening in terms of which use here, which use there. So let's start with area. So area is pi r squared. We are always going to turn pi into 3.14. So area equals 3.14, and then now my radius is 4, so that's 4 squared. Remember, according to PEMDAS, exponents are first. So I actually have to simplify this first. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Drop down to 3.14. Now, all I do is put that in my calculator. 3.14 times 16 gives me 50.24 meters squared. Remember, area is always squared. For circumference, it's 2 pi r. And so we would say, okay, C equals 2. We always turn pi into 3.14, and then my radius is 4. So now in my calculator, 2 times 3.14 times 4 equals 25.12 meters. Just like perimeter circumference is just whatever that unit is. It's not squared or anything like that. Alright, let's say that they give us the diameter and it's 10 feet. How about that? Alright, so I start with my area formula. The area is pi r squared. The problem is they gave us the diameter. They didn't give us the radius. So immediately I need to say, okay, the radius is equal to the diameter cut in half, which is 10. The diameter is 10 over 2, therefore it's 5. Okay? So now, let's go ahead and start plugging things in. Area equals, turn pi into 3.14. The radius is 5 squared. Just like before, we have to do the exponents first. 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. Bring down your 3.14. put that in your calculator, and you should get area is equal to 78.5 feet squared. For circumference, remember there's two formulas for circumference, and I'm going to show you both, but I would rather you once again use 2 pi r. But technically you could use pi d, and I'll show you that you get the same thing. So circumference equals 2 pi r, so 2 times turn pi to 3.14. My radius is 5. If I plug that into my calculator, 2 times 3.14 times 5, I get 31.4 feet. So let's say you're like, are you sure it's the same thing? Well, let's try it. So circumference equals pi is 3.14. My diameter is 10, because that's the original. And if I plug that in my calculator, you get 3.14. So it's the exact same thing. Okay? Okay, let's do this one. Area equals pi r squared. I look over there, they gave me the diameter, not the radius. So I need to say, okay, the radius is equal to half the diameter. So 8.6 divided by 2 is 4.3. Alright, so now I can start plugging in. I turn pi into 3.14. The radius is 4.3 squared. I have to use my square first, or calculate my square first. So 4.3 squared is 18.49. And then I'm going to bring down my 3.14. Area equals, so 3.14 times 18.49 is 58.0586. And I'm going to go ahead and round that to the nearest hundredth. Remember, this is tenths, hundredths. This would bump it up. Therefore, my area is 58.06 meters squared. For circumference, I need to do 2 pi r. Circumference is 2. Turn that pi to 3.14. My radius is 4.3. And now I just go ahead and plug that in my calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 4.3 gives me 27.004. Once again, I'm going to round that to the nearest hundredth, which is the second decimal place. 4 less, let it rest. So C equals 27.00, or just 27 meters. And one more, guys. There we go. Alright, let's say some meters. So if I start with area equals pi r squared. Area equals turn pi into 3.14. I look at what they gave me. Yay, they gave me the radius this time, so I don't have to do anything but just plug it in. 3.5 squared. Just like before, I have to get this squared first, so 3.5 squared gives me 12.25. Bring down your 3.14. And now I just multiply. 38.465. I'm going to round it to the nearest hundredth. 5 more, raise the score. So that's 38.47 centimeters squared. Circumference is 2 pi r. So circumference is equal to 2. Turn pi to 3.14. And my radius is 3.5. So 2 times 3.14 times 3.5 gives me 21.98 centimeters. Done. Now guys, when I'm checking you in class and on your assessments, I need to see all of these steps, okay? I don't want to see that you just plug things into your calculator, okay?